For fools!
Death has arrived.
Hey YouTubers, Hankster here, and welcome to another edition of Action Figures of the Living Dead, the Chaos Comics edition. And also this is a horror movie review. I'm combining both two in this special video, mostly because this is based on a Chaos Comics character. It is, of course, Lady Death, the motion picture. This came out in 2004, of course, 2 years after the bankruptcy of the original Chaos Comics. About around the same time, the character Lady Death was making her appearances on Avatar Comics. Brian Pulido, of course, as I said before, was able to keep the rights to her, even though most of his other characters pretty much went out into limbo, and until just recently with Evil Ernie just finally getting his own comics again through Dynamite Comics, which I don't know if it's supposed to be out this month, but I wasn't really sure when it was supposed to come out. But all in all, this is a pretty good movie. Of course, it is a movie adaptation of the original storyline done by Chaos Comics. Lady Death, of course, got her start as a young, innocent girl who, of course, her father was a maniacal warlord who basically wanted to raise his own army to conquer hell. Well, in this movie, of course, it's a little bit different. We later would find out that he is actually Lucifer. But I don't totally want to tell you his plans here, because I'm not much into giving out spoilers. And of course, as you know, if you remember the storyline, she, of course, gets about to be burned at the stake by the villagers. She, of course, calls in the forces of the darkness, and she winds up being transported to hell. But, of course, her soul is still so pure, Lucifer cannot corrupt it, and, of course, she winds up being banished to the other side of hell, where she, of course, forms alliances with such characters as Cremator. Yes, even though, I gotta say, this was basically, I think it was in the planning stages when Chaos was still around, so that's probably why Cremator and the Nameless Wolves of Fazago are still mentioned in this movie. But this, if you never got the comics, this is basically close enough to what the original comic storyline was. Even though there was some obvious changes between the two plots. She, of course, starts to gain more power, enough so she leads her own army to take on Lucifer, and eventually not only conquering hell, but also freeing the souls of her loved ones, including her mother and a boyfriend. Speaking of which, if you take a look at her boyfriend in this movie, from the human world, he does. If you ever read the comic books and then you also watch this movie, he does resemble Evil Ernie when Evil Ernie was human. I don't know if that was just if that's a weird coincidence, or did Brian Pulido actually plan that? I really don't know. But all in all, it is a pretty good movie. I do have to warn you, this is not for kids. This is an adult, not exactly adult movies. It's for mature audiences, in the sense that there is a lot of violence, there's a lot of blood and gore in this movie. Not really. I don't think there's any real nudity in it. There is sexual innuendo, but it's definitely not for kids. It's pretty much up on par as if you ever saw Dante's Inferno, the movie, anything like that, which came out a couple years ago as well. And of course, that was based on the video game. Would have been interesting if they had a Lady Death video game. But all in all, pretty good movie. It's out on DVD. It was, came out straight on DVD, never went to theaters or broadcast or anything first. Pretty much, it just has some behind the scenes material. some trailers for ADV films projects. Not a whole lot of, not too much stuff, but it's a pretty good movie. It holds out on its own. And if you ever were curious about her Lady Death's origins, this is a pretty good movie to pick up. Of course, as you know, her origins has been changed around so many times. So many times in the last decade, it's been ridiculous. I mean, I think now she's Boundless Comics, and she's now on Boundless Comics, and they've changed her story again. But no, not too bad. Just to see her original origins and the original Lady Death. This is the thing to get. And stay tuned here to the multiverse for more collectibles, whatnot, movie reviews, and Lady Death here on the multiverse. See ya.